Welcome back to Academic Insights, Preparing for Disaster, sponsored by American Military University on Federal News Radio, part of the Federal News Network. I'm your moderator, J.J. Green. My guest today is Dr. Chris Reynolds, Dean and Vice President, Academic Outreach and Program Development, American Military University. Dr. Reynolds, how does education play a role in responding to disasters and keeping civilians safe these days and times?
Education plays a key role, JJ. I think that it's important to remember that one is only as good as one's experience and one's education, particularly in a field such as diverse as emergency disaster management. One of the things that separates American Military University in our emergency management program is that we have what we call faculty practitioners. And a faculty practitioner is essentially an individual who's got the boots on the ground experience, who's managed to go on and get the education, whether it be at the bachelor, the master's, or the doctoral level, because they have all of it. They go all the way to that end. They bring that to the classroom. So that's the faculty side of it. Now you have the student side. Same thing. You've got the student who's got 10, 15, 20 years of experience doing emergency disaster management that needs to check that square, needs to check the block saying that they've got the higher education now. So they bring that real world experience to the classroom also. So now you've got faculty with the experience, you've got students with the experience, and then you have students that maybe have no experience. The learning cannot help but to occur because you've got, concepts, complex concepts. You've got real world disaster scenarios that are being talked about. You've got disasters that are occurring right now. In fact, during Hurricane Dorian, many of our students and faculty were involved in the Dorian response. And they were live tweeting on our AMU disaster crew. They were also bringing that to the classroom. So when you have a discussion, on a topic or on disaster management, and you can tie it into a real world operation where the students can not only discuss it in class, but can watch and see it happening. I mean, they can go to the Weather Channel, go to any one of the television channels, they can listen to FRN and hear what's going on. So it ties it all together.
Yeah, this is a small part of that, and just sort of a side question, but it feeds into it. You talk about the real world and the way we learn these days, and a lot of it has to do with experiences. How much of what people get now in the education process comes from books, or is it more an interactive kind of thing for students?
Well, that's a two-part answer to that. First of all, one has to have books, particularly in the general education areas. There's always going to be a method by books. In the emergency management arena, those books tend to be more doctrine. They're either from FEMA, they're from DHS, they're actually policies and doctrine. Now, there may be some book learning that has to occur for just the basic concepts. But the real learning occurs outside of the book. It occurs with the experience. I think you would agree that, you can talk to a colleague, in other words, in what you do, and pretty much tell immediately whether they're new in the field or they've been around for a while, just by how they're able to converse and talk about the topic. Same in emergency management. People generally have a good understanding of what their skill sets are.
Talk a little bit about the programs at AMU and EDM.
Well, we have our emergency disaster management program. Of course, we have our bachelor's level and we have our master's level on that program. And generally speaking, you're going to see a lot of the newer people, the people that maybe have less than 10 years pursuing the undergraduate degree. And they're bringing that newness into the program, much like I spoke about a moment ago, where they're learning from the experience of the senior faculty and maybe responders that have been around for a while. You're also going to see some of that group, but the older group, in terms of their time on the job, perhaps maybe in greater than 10 years, attending the graduate program. Now, these will be individuals who are looking to move up in their organization, their emergency management organization, or within FEMA, or within Department of Homeland Security, or any of the 50 states emergency management programs. And they're going to see them pursuing master's degrees.
So you have a very interesting program there. It's called the Masters of Disaster Group, and that seems to remind me the title of pop culture. But it's very serious, and it's way more than culture. This is about life and death.
Right. Well, Masters of Disaster, first of all, predates Twitter. I was a program director for the Emergency Disaster Management Program after we built the program. we knew that social media was big, and at that time, LinkedIn had just essentially launched. Twitter hadn't even launched yet. This was in 2008. So as the director of the program and about 6 of my students, we said, hey, let's go to LinkedIn and we can network there. That was the nucleus of what became the Masters of Disaster, which now has 3,000 members, with all strata of experience, everything from high-level people in FEMA and within the disaster management world to brand new students that are just now learning. The value of Masters of Disaster was we used it much like we use AMU Disaster Crew now, because with Twitter, it's a network and you get the message out.
And so this is knowledge sharing too.
It's exactly what it's networking, right? It's collaborating. Mm-hmm. The one thing that's really important in any public safety arena, whether it's in fire, law enforcement, emergency management, homeland security, emergency medical services, is collaboration. Mm-hmm. And so we use the Masters of Disaster as a collaborative tool, and it also allowed our faculty to mentor students, because we all have a mentor,
right?
Which is so important.
Yeah, very interesting. I'll have to go check that out.
Yeah, please do.
Pretty sure I probably have seen it over the years, but I'll go check it out again. My guest today is Dr. Chris Reynolds, Dean and Vice President, Academic Outreach and Program Development at American Military University. I'm your moderator, JJ Green, on Academic Insights, Preparing for Disaster, sponsored by American Military University on Federal News Radio, part of the Federal News Network.